Okay, I want to do a little video here about law enforcement. You know, I was in law enforcement for a little while. I have a lot of friends that's in law enforcement. And this is an important video because it kind of helps you, if you're a law enforcement officer, to check yourself and to kind of question yourself and give yourself a self eval. If you're a sheriff or you're a chief of police, this will help you also to take a look and ask yourself about your department and the people that are working for you and how they operate. So these are questions for law enforcement and questions for people that are in security, law enforcement, and those type of careers. So the first thing I want you to think about, and things that I always ask myself, is who am I? Who are you? Why do you do the job? Look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you treat people like you want to be treated? Are you doing the job because you want to protect and serve? Or are you doing the job because you just need the money and it's a good field and it gives you a lot of benefits and you get a car to drive and you get to speed and shoot people? The craziest thing, when I told my friend, hey, you know, I'm a deputy now, he said, oh, wow, you get to speed and shoot people now. And I thought, wow, that's a crazy way to look at it. But why are you in law enforcement? Why are you doing this job? Is it to pump up some ego that you have, or is it to really help your fellow human being? Are you there to protect and serve? I mean, that's just the bottom line. Are you just paying the bills? Are you willing to risk your life for a stranger? It's almost like being a Secret Service. You know, are you willing to jump into that burning car and pull those people out? Are you willing to protect? I mean, what are you willing to do? So ask yourself why are you in law enforcement, and then do a really hard heart check on that. And it might not be the field for you. If you're there for an ego trip and you like to tell people what to do and you get off on writing speeding tickets and pulling people over and have people follow your commands, and I'm telling you, you're in the wrong field. And it's going to catch up with you one day. You're not there to speed and shoot people. All right. The next thing is ask yourself, what are your capabilities? What can you do? What are you capable of? So when you start thinking about those, then there's a set of skill sets, and I've got, I think, 7 of them here. No, 9. nine things you need to think about. The very first thing you need to think about when you think about your capabilities is you need to ask yourself, first and foremost, are you physically fit for the job? It's a hard job. You're going to ride in a car all day. You're going to probably have to eat fast food because you can't plan your meals. You don't really know when you're going to eat. And it's unable to have, you know, time to sit down and have a dinner. So that's going to be a rough lifestyle. And it's hard to stay in shape on that lifestyle if you don't plan it and really work hard at it. You're wearing extra weight all the time. And it's a big disadvantage when you're in a fight, all that extra weight and all that extra gear. It's hard to get cooled down when you're wearing all that gear. You're 80% of your body or 90% of your body is covered, and it's covered with heavy gear, and it's really hard to get cooled down. So when you go out in the heat and you get back in your car, then it's cold, and there's a lot of guys got pneumonia by jumping in and out, in and out, in and out all the time. So those are things to think about whenever your fitness. Are you fit to be able to do that? Can you run if you need to? Run someone down. And then are you capable of doing that with an extra 20, 30 pounds on? Because your vest, all your extra gear is a lot of extra weight. And so you need to ask yourself, first and foremost, are you fit? Are you staying fit? Are you eating right? Are you getting the right sleep? Are you getting the mental rest that you need? because the mental part of law enforcement is hard also. When you're out there every day dealing with bad people, then you start seeing the entire world as bad. Even your family, you start suspecting everything. So try to take care of your fitness. Try to keep your mental straight and keep good fitness and mental health also. The second thing is in your skill set toolbox is your self-defense or your fighting skills. And you know, the better fighter you are, the less weapons you're going to have to rely on. A lot of people end up shooting someone because they're getting their ass beat by the road. And if you're big enough, bad enough, and tough enough, and strong enough that you can throw people around, then you don't have to pull your gun out as much. And that's the only thing I say when it comes to hiring someone, when you're hiring law enforcement. If you're hiring someone because they're a DEI hire and you just need so many females or so many of this or that on there, and you're not looking for the strongest, most capable person, then that could turn out to hurt them in the long run, because if they get in a fight and someone's beating them to death, and then they have to pull out their gun and shoot someone, and then, so it's bad for the public and it's bad for the law enforcement officer. I know you shouldn't be fighting. No one should be fighting a cop, but sometimes if a cop is, crossing the line, or you get run into the wrong people, it can turn into a fight. So I know that a lot of times that me being able to fight someone off was a lot better, and it kept me from having to shoot them. So think about your fighting skills. The less fighting skills you have, the more risk you are to having to use your weapon. So fighting skills is a huge thing. That's the second thing. The third thing is, what are your medical skills? And the minimal medical skills I would say that every law enforcement should have. If you don't have it, then go park your car and get off the road. You need to be able to stop mass bleeding. You need to be able to do CPR. You need to be able to know anti-choking, Heimlich maneuver. You need to know what the March algorithm is and how to go down it completely. If you don't know what that is, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you, you need to look it up. You need to know how to handle hypothermia. You need to know how to handle heat exhaustion and know when you're getting close to it or someone's getting close to it. And you know how to handle overdoses. You're going to have a lot of those. And when you get to a car wreck, you need to know how to handle that scene, because as a law enforcement officer, I guarantee you're going to be faced with a car wreck if you hadn't already. So, number 4, you need to have some people skills. Oh, and back to number 3 real quick. I had someone tell me, well, I don't need any medical skills, because if I go and treat somebody and I'm not treating them properly, then I'm putting everybody at risk. Well, guess what? You're the first person on the scene if there's a shooting and somebody's laying there bleeding out. So I am pretty sure they'd rather have you at least apply pressure to the wound or put a tourniquet on if it's a arterial bleed or something like that, than to sit there and just make a radio call and go, oh, I'm not capable, I shouldn't do this, So man up, woman up, whatever, and learn some medical skills. And if you're a sheriff, then require your people to have these skills. The next thing is, number 4, is people skills. You need to be able to de-escalate a situation. You need to bury your arrogant attitude and de-escalate the situation. You need to know how to say, hey, man, it's not worth it. Even if you do get arrested, you're probably just going to go to jail for a couple of hours. They're going to bail you out and be back on the street, Something to de-escalate the thing. You don't sit there and push people around and order people around, because there's some people out there that just don't like that. They'd rather just fight you. And, that turns it into the bad situation. If they fight you and you can't fight, now you're going to have to shoot them. So now there you are. So here we are again. Number 5, you need to have good driving skills. Understanding, no, you should not break the law just because you're a law enforcement officer. You should not break the same laws that you write tickets for. And that's what my buddy said, hey man, you get to speed and shoot people. Well, that is terrible to think that now I'm a law enforcement officer. I'll just go speed, up and down the road, pull into the diner and get something to eat, jump my car, speed back home, and just, break the law and then turn around speeding up down the road 75, 80 miles an hour and turn around and write speed tickets for 75 and 80 mile an hour to people all day. That's what gives law enforcement a bad name. That's a hypocritical way of looking at things. If you're not going to a call, obey the damn speed limits. Don't make everybody look bad. If you're a state trooper, don't haul ass down the road in the left-hand lane doing 85 and 90 miles an hour and then just pull over and sit in the ditch and run radar. Because people see that. That is a terrible thing to do. You are giving everyone a black eye. Unless you're in an actual emergency and your lights are on, you should not be speeding. Number 6, know the law. Know the law. As a law enforcement officer, I know a lot of law enforcement officers out there. When I was a law enforcement officer, a lot of times I would have to go and look up the law and say, let me look this up before I make this arrest or whatever. If you don't know it, look it up. Don't go violating people's rights and things like that, not knowing the law. Know the laws that you enforce. Number 7, your minimum equipment. Let's talk about your minimum equipment as a law enforcement officer you should have in your vehicle. Number 7 is for in your vehicle equipment. First and foremost, you should have a stop the bleed kit, a tourniquet within an arm's reach of you if you're trapped in your car. Why is that? Because as a law enforcement officer and you're speeding, you end up getting an accident and you're trapped in your car and you're bleeding out. And if you had a tourniquet, you could slide around your leg and pull it tight and close off that arterial bleed, then maybe you'll survive it. So a tourniquet where you can get it from a seating position in your car. Number 2, a basic medical kit. I know you're not EMS. I know you're not an ambulance and that sort of thing, but the kit is for you. If you get shot or your buddy gets shot or something happens or you get knifed. Number 3, have a fire extinguisher. Have to. I mean, you really do need a fire extinguisher in the vehicle. Number 4, have a bonus. Number 4 is basically a bonus, though. It's a defib machine, so in case someone's having a heart attack, you can hook them up and it'll help you do that. Also have some rain gear because you're going to be working in the rain a lot. Have an extra flashlight. Have towel and blankets. So these are things that you're just going to need on hand in your vehicle. Now, on your person, what should you have on your person all the time? Your department is going to issue a list of things they want you to have, and they're going to actually issue the stuff. But here's some things you need to make sure. Your minimal equipment on your person, your weapon, and at least 3 mags. Non-lethal, something non-lethal, spray and tase. I would strongly suggest spray and tase. You're going to need gloves, so in case you have to deal with some kind of blood or something like that. You need an IPOC, Individual Patrol Officer Kit, which has a tourniquet, and it has something that you can, some gauze and stuff like that you stuff into a wound. It probably even has chest seals if you have a good one. You need 2 flashlights on you in case one goes out. I always like to have a headlight and then a handheld. You need a blade so you can cut something loose if you need to. You need comms, at least 2 ways. I always have my telephone and then a radio. You need handcuffs, some body armor. Those are just the basic things. Now, if you've got something else that you like to carry, let me know in the comments. It's important that some new guys that are getting in, they need to take a look and just kind of listen and think about this stuff before you go jump off into the field of law enforcement. And then number 9, one of the most important things you're going to need is a good attitude. You need to be professional. Look professional. Have a good attitude. Have a sharp uniform. Have a clean car. Look squared away. Because if you look squared away and you look professional, then that's gonna command a lot of respect. And people look at you and go, yeah, he's squared away. Now, if you walk up and you're a fat slob, you're out of shape, you're half your buttons are undone, your pants hanging around your butt, your shoes hadn't been shined in a couple months, and your car's all beat up and dirty, and your radio's hanging off the side, and you just look like a shit show, then no one's going to respect you. That's one thing I do like about the Florida Highway Patrol is they all look strapped. I guess they teach them to, to look good, look strapped, keep a good haircut. They're very professional people, and I like that about them. They keep their vehicles in good working order, and if your vehicle's not in good working order, you get in a wreck and you hurt someone, it's on you. If you don't follow the laws and you violate someone's rights, it's on you. If you don't know how to fight and you have to shoot someone because you're getting your ass beat, that's on you. That's not the criminal, because the criminal is always going to fight. The drunk is always going to fight you. You got to be able to whip his ass. So, just trying to help you out here to fellow law enforcement officers and some chiefs and sheriffs and stuff like that. Think this stuff through. Listen to the video. Think about what your people are. If you got a whole group of fat slobs that can't run 100 yards and drag somebody out of a firefight, or can't pick a child up and carry them out of a fire, or can't, I don't know, there's just a ton of things, then the first thing on the list is fitness. You really need to get your people in shape, or hire some people that are in shape. And everybody goes, well, it's hard to hire people. Well, pay them. If you want a good soldier or a good law enforcement officer, you feed them, you pay them, you give them good equipment. And you treat them right. You treat them like you want to be treated. Give them a good place to work. All right, go out and make your family, your life, your fellow warrior, and your fellow officer